Remote management with pfSense. This question pops up all the time. What's an easy way to manage pfSense remotely? And you may have noticed right away, says down here at the bottom, no open VPN instances defined. And I know someone's going to say, well, you could just manage them all with OpenVPN. That's true, but that also becomes a lot more work to keep on file, so to speak, a lot of different, VPNs and stuff like that. Easier way to manage it was opening up the web interface right to the world, right? I've seen a lot of people do this. I don't think this is always the best idea, and let me tell you why. There was an update recently because there was a flaw found in Nginx that may have allowed a potential vulnerability to get in by hammering away at Nginx with a couple well-crafted packets. There's a patch for it and things like that, and I made a video about this, but one of the things I mentioned as well was, well, as long as you don't have your management interface wide open exposed to the world, you should be fine. Now, there's a few ways you can help mitigate that, and we'll talk about that real quick here. We're going to go over the rules. We have the management face of this particular pfSense instance in my lab set to 5555. That is the management interface change we made. You just make that really simple under here. Here's the port we chose for it, 5555. 4 fives, sorry. So leaving it at default port is bad for a couple of reasons. One, it's at 443, which means lots of things look there, but security through obscurity is never great. Second, you may have to forward something through the firewall that has a web server on it, so you don't want to have to deal with any conflicts if you do have to open this up. So moving it to a different port number also will reduce the number of entries in the logs if you ever want to look at those to see who's hammering at the system, because they don't hammer at odd port numbers as much. So logs are a little quieter. So we have this firewall opened, but we have it filter opened. What I mean by that is we have filtered it so it only accepts from my IP address. This is the IP address of my local computer we're doing here, which means it allows me to access it. This could just as easily be a public IP address or list of created in an alias public IP addresses to say only these computers are allowed to access this management interface. Now, this is good still because you're filtering it and it's reasonable amount of security, but there's another way you can manage it. So if you want to go a step further and a little more secure, there is SSH management. We go over here to advanced and scroll down to SSH. Now, by default, it's not enabled. Secure shell is not turned on, so just check the box. It'll pause. It's got to generate some new keys. Depending on speed of your machine, it takes a few seconds. No big deal there. Public key and or password. That's bad. You do not want it so people can just hammer away guessing usernames and passwords on your server, because there are bots out there that will spend a lot of time doing that. Public key only. Pretty secure. Public key encryption's been around for a long time, and if they find a flaw in public key encryption, we're all in trouble. We'll just say your firewall will be the least of the worries because so many things are managed simply by public key encryption. So it's a pretty safe way to set this up with public key only. Now, I'm not going to get in depth on this particular video because it goes out of scope, but I will leave you a couple links here. There is a great write-up on DigitalOcean of how to set up your public keys. You could do this with PuTTY. I prefer to do this with inside of a bash shell, and I'm running Linux, which means it's really easy, but don't worry, if you're running Windows, you still don't have to use PuTTY unless you feel like it, because Windows 10, this was actually something I really like that they included, the Windows subsystem for Linux. We have tested this methodology because a couple of my staff do run Windows 10. It works. You can SSH manage things with the port forwarding that I'm going to show you how to do. It works perfectly fine inside of Windows as well. Now, public key authentication means having a public key. Actually, this is my public key. So if you go to GitHub, in github.com/flipsidecreations.keys, that is my public RSA key. The important part is always keeping your private key secret. So that's my key, and let's show you where that is on the computer when you generate the keys. And when you go through key generation, you'll kind of get the gist of this, how that works. This is my private key, ID RSA, ID RSA.pub. So we're going to go ahead and RSA.pub, dump it to the screen here, and you'll see it's a short key just like this. So we can actually take this right here, copy it. We're going to go back over to pfSense. Got this all set up. See, it's on public key only, which means you can't type a password in. You could change it to public key. Both require a password and a public key. For now, with the demonstration here, we'll just do it with a public key. Hit save. So that's enabled. Over here to the user manager. Now, root on pfSense is the same username as admin. They're tied together essentially. When you use admin on the interface, it's the same as root. I don't recommend, though, leaving that enabled ever. First thing we do is disable and create management accounts on the system. And then we disable the admin one. And just one less thing, because they then have, whoever's trying to get in always has to have the username and password. I go ahead and edit this user. And I already had the key in there, but you get idea. I just pasted the key in like this. It's okay that it wraps. Go ahead and hit save. Now that SSH key is in there. And now we can log into pfSense, which is the first step, making sure we can log into it. So we're going to SSH port 222 because we changed the default port from 22 to 222. And just to reiterate that real quick, you can see where we changed the port there. And then we went over here to firewall, rules. We'll edit the rule and walk through it real quick. We allow source any. Probably you should filter it for at least, your IP addresses if they're public and static. If not, you open it to any. Not the hugest risk. SSH is, like I said, well vetted, solid protocol. Port 222, 222. Where is the destination? This firewall. So it's not natting behind anything. You're saying allow access to the SSH server on this firewall. And hit save. So that rule is applied. And then we just log in. SSH-P222 for port. Tom at 172.168.6. Oh, type that wrong. 172.16.69.112. We're in. They say in every hacker movie. That's it. It used the public key authentication to get in. So let's walk you through a little bit what's going on here to give you an idea. -V. And you can just see it ran down the list. Found key, home, hosts. It's found the key, Give you an idea what's going on here. So once it's all done, it's logged in. That's it. We are logged into the system. But then how do you manage it from here? Well, that's where we're going to talk about that. That's the step that's actually pretty easy, and it's only one more command from this. We're going to add a -L. This, and we're going to say :. Now, that's all we have to do is add this command, 555, localhost 5555. I got one too many fives in that one, there's only 4 5s. What this allows us to do is wrap the ports from localhost of the pfSense, so the management interface on the pfSense, to localhost on my computer. Now, word to the wise, if I were to do this and try to use a port below 1024, I would have to put sudo in front of it. As long as the ports are non-privileged or above 1024, then I can simply wrap the ports like this. Done. I'm in, but didn't seem to do anything different. Well, that's where it gets kind of cool. We're going to go over here, HTTPS, localhost. You spell localhost properly and make sure you have the L in there. And we're in. That's it. That one liner is all I needed to get in. It's really simple. You're just taking localhost, as in the localhost of the machine you're connecting to. You're taking that port, and I could make it a different port. And actually, I'll show you here. So log out. Close that. Exit. So let's just make this 10443. So L10443 localhost that. So we're wrapping that to mine. And we'll go here. And you can see I've used that port before. Is it auto-completed? Simple passwords because it's a demo machine. And we're in. It's really that easy. There's not much else to it. You just wrap the first part is where the destination is on your computer. Second part is the destination on the other one. P222, Tom at, and away we go. We're into the system, and now we're able to remotely manage it. But I will note something. If you go over here to advanced, and let's change it to require both password and public key. I'll actually show you what happens here. So we're logged in. We'll scroll down the bottom, hit save. It actually saves it, but second here, Connection closed, and of course, this fails. No worries, we can up arrow and just reconnect again. Now, because I changed it this time, I'll show you the change we made. System advanced. We said require both password and public key. So now when I logged in, as you noticed, exit out, log back in. It's now requiring me a password instead of logging back in. But you get the idea here that it's easiest way to manage it, at least in my opinion. And like I said, this is cross-platform, works in both Windows and in Linux. Well, of course, I'm using Linux here. Is just SSH, capital L, capitalization matters, not just in grammar, but especially in commands. 10443, localhost 555. Choose the port number if you didn't use the default port number, and here. Now, a few other ways you can do this. You can actually go further. You can learn about SSH port forwarding, which is the function I'm using here. You could actually log into other machines on the network by bridging and proxying it through this. So there's a lot more expanded things you could do with this, but this is an easy way to get started with it. And for the scope of this talk is just how to get into pfSense remotely and be able to go into system. I'll show you real quick that it works across the internet perfectly fine. I'm going to go to SSH to my house. And yes, I had to blur that out, so I'm logging into my home computer. Not that if you had my public IGs for home, you'd be able to do much other than probably annoy me with some type of denial of service, but whatever, I'm going to blur it. But now I'm logged into my home, and I can probably guess that, well, there's not much traffic. Maybe no one's watching Netflix at my house right now, but you get the idea. And yes, I am running an SG 1100 at home. That's one of the places that these landed. Actually, I got one for all of my staff as well. Anyways, hopefully this helps. It's, like I said, an easy way to remotely manage pfSense via SSH. Just wrap the management port and tunnel it, and you're done. It's that easy to do. I will do some further videos on what else you can do with SSH forwarding, including doing it with pfSense to remotely access networks via proxy over SSH, but that's a future video. Look for that coming soon. Thanks. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to this channel to see more content, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and maybe YouTube will send you a notice when we post. If you want to hire us for a project that you've seen or discussed in this video, head over to lawrencesystems.com, where we offer both business IT services and consulting services, and are excited to help you with whatever project you want to throw at us. Also, if you want to carry on the discussion further, head over to forums.lawrencesystems.com, where we can keep the conversation going. And if you want to help the channel out in other ways, we offer affiliate links below, which offer discounts for you and a small cut for us. That does help fund this channel. And once again, thanks again for watching this video, and see you on next time.